Yo, yo, what's up? So I just finished 1,000 steps beach workout, which is like my favorite workout in the world. I even enjoy this more than I do lifting. I love to lift, but especially heavy stuff. Deadlifts are like my favorite thing in the world, but 1,000 steps beach is my favorite. Best workout, because two reasons. Number one, it's deadly. I think I cried a little bit today. And number two, it's very humbling. No matter how good you get, it will always murder you. Because as you get fitter, you just get faster. It still always hurts the same. so I still cry all the time. So anyway, this brings me to my next point, okay? Because I got my little dude with me right now. Say hi, Axel.
Hi.
So he actually just did this workout with me, okay? And I kid you not, this kid, I just posted a video right before I hopped on here, goes up these stairs faster than adults do, okay? And I haven't even brought him here in a really long time. So, but because he's very, very active, he works out in our gym every day, you know, more like playing around, but to him he's working out, right? And he's being raised in an environment where he sees us work out all the time. You know, if we're going anywhere, like if mom leaves, he knows she's gonna go work out. If I leave, he knows I'm gonna go work out, right? He goes to the gym with me when I go to 24 Hour Fitness. You know, he goes with me to the gym like 3 to 5 times a week to 24 Hour Fitness. And so he's used to this whole lifestyle. But the reason why I'm making this video today is because as a parent, I believe that it is your responsibility, number one, above all else, above all teaching them life skills, above all else, like teaching them, you know, about them getting good grades in school, more than them being, you know, polite and respectful, more than them, like, you know, any of the stuff that you're trying to teach your kids. The most important life skills that you can teach your children, and I'll say 3 in this one. Number 1 is nutrition, okay? And most of you don't even know nutrition. You haven't even mastered yourselves, right? So what makes you think that you're able to bring a child into this world and teach them how to have a great life when you haven't even mastered yourself? You don't even have it together, which is why, like, I always say, like, if you haven't mastered yourself, don't have kids. You honestly, in my opinion, you don't deserve to be having kids if you haven't mastered yourself. Because all you're going to do is teach your same bad habits to another human being who's going to grow up with those same bad habits. And in very, 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 very rare occasions, a child will grow up in that environment and realize very, very young that they don't want that kind of life, right? But it is really rare. 99.999% of them are going to follow in the exact same footsteps that you set, okay? So, for example, like, I grew up with an obese family. Everybody has heart disease. Everybody's got diabetes. Everybody's got cancer, right? Everybody's broke, majority of them, right? I grew up in an environment where, hold on, bud, I'm on video, babe. I grew up in an environment where typically most people would just repeat that, right? They'd make the same terrible, you know, life decisions. They're going to work in jobs that are dead end. They're going to be making terrible financial choices. They're going to be eating the same foods. They're going to have the same style of activity level, right? And they're just going to duplicate what they were shown. Because kids mirror what you do, not what you say, right? So, but I learned at a very young age, because I'm the kind of person that I've always, like, analyzed what people do. I still to this day, I analyze everything. So I looked at what all the broke people had in common, what the fat people had in common, what the ones who had diseases had in common. I looked at this at a very, very young age because I'm like, I am not going to end up like you. I'm not going to be in the same position as an adult. Like, this is not going to be me. This is not going to be my life. From really, really small, I've always saw this. And I don't know where where that skill came from. And I think it might have actually come from my uncle, because my uncle's different, right? He was the one that was active. He was the one that introduced me to weight training and stuff. Hey, stop. He was the one that introduced me to weight training and stuff. He was also a hustler, right? So he didn't struggle financially like everybody else, right? So I noticed this traits that he had versus everybody else, right? That's probably where I learned that from. But he was like my big brother growing up. Because me growing up without like a father figure around, right? Which is another thing that I learned from growing up, you know, too, is that, you know, I always realized what I felt I missed out on as a boy, as a young boy growing up. There was a lot of things that I felt like I was missing out on that the dad role should have been playing. And I always said that if I ever have kids one day, my kids are never going to feel that way. They're never going to feel these feelings of not being wanted, not being loved. They're never going to have these feelings of like, I wish somebody could teach me how to do this. I wish somebody could teach me that, right? I wish my dad can throw ball with me. I wish my dad could play football with me or maybe play video games with me, right? I didn't have any of that growing up. So I always said that if I ever have kids, which I never really wanted to have kids, now I have 4. I never wanted any, but I always said, if I do, I'm going to make sure that they know. So if you've ever seen me with my youngest 2 boys, you'll see that we are super tight. That I express my love for them. I express verbally, physically, every single day, thousands of times a day, because they are never going to grow up with that feeling, or feeling like their dad doesn't love them or that their dad did not want them, right? They're never going to experience that. And they're never going to experience us being broke either, right? Because I grew up with a single mom raising 2 kids. We grew up on government assistance, right? My kids are not going to experience that. So, but anyway, my whole point with this, let me back up, is I'm trying to say is your kids are going to mirror what you do. And it is your job as a parent, right? And a lot of you guys already messed this up, and that's okay. Trust me, this whole parenting thing, okay, this is one of those things that they don't come with manuals, right? It ain't right. It isn't like that it doesn't come with a manual where it's like, all right, you need to do this, right? So a lot of this stuff is learning on the fly. I get it. Trust me, we've made thousands of mistakes ourselves. So, but the one things that we do have right are we teaching our kids how to, number one, take care of themselves, and that begins with their nutrition. And this is something that I hammer home with you guys all the time, because a lot of you parents, you push your kids to get good grades, get good grades, get good grades, get good grades, you know, and to play these sports and to do these things, right? But you don't teach them how to eat right. And everything that they want and everything that they're going to need out of life stems from the quality of foods that they put in their body, right? So a lot of you parents, you think that you're showing love by feeding your kids cake and ice cream and ordering pizza, right? Or going to McDonald's, right? And that's not showing love. That's destroying them and teaching them bad habits. So what's going to happen is your kid's going to have, you know, ADD, ADHD-like behavior. Your kid's going to be dealing with anxiety and depression. Why? Because of the way that you feed them, right? Then on top of that, let's say they even make it through their teen years, which oftentimes childhoods can be really rough. Kids are pretty mean, right? So let's say you're feeding your kids all this trash and your kid's overweight. Now there's going to be some mean kids that, guess what? Now your kid's getting made fun of, right? You got that fat kid that everybody makes fun of. And now your kid's going to have self-esteem issues, self-worth issues, on top of the fact that he's probably already got anxiety and depression because of the inflammation from the foods that he's eating, because you raised him the wrong way, right? So then on top of that, as an adult, like, these kids need to learn nutrition. This is this is a skill that they're going to need every single day, multiple times a day, for the rest of their lives, right? But you guys don't even know it. Yet, how the hell are you supposed to teach another human how to do it, right? Does it make any sense? That's why I say don't have kids. If you haven't mastered yourself, don't have kids, okay? So anyway, so you want to be able to teach them nutrition. You want to teach them this important life skill, okay? Because they're going to need this for everything. In order for them to get good grades in school, in order for them to be the best athlete possible, in order for them, if you're pushing them to go to college, which I think is stupid unless they plan on being like a brain surgeon, okay? College is a waste of time. College isn't how you make money today, okay? You can make 6 or 7 figures from home without ever having to step foot out of your house with no degree, okay? They don't need to go to college, all right? Unless they plan on being a brain surgeon and it's something they're truly passionate about. Because if they're not truly in love with the idea of being a brain surgeon, okay, they're not going to put the hustle in that is required to be successful. So they're going to suck and they're going to be miserable. All right? So keep that in mind too. But let's back up. They need to know nutrition. Why? Because if they don't take care of their bodies, they're not going to be able to create their best life, because they're not going to be their best selves, right? Even though they may not have health issues yet, guess what? They're only firing on 50%, 60%, 70% of their capabilities max, right? Do you want your kid performing at 100, or do you want your kid performing at 50? It's kind of common sense, right? If you loved your kids, you would teach them healthy nutrition, and this doesn't mean plant-based diet and veganism, okay? That is not healthy, all right? So this is talking about clean foods, right? Protein, vegetables, nuts, seeds, fruit, things like that. That's all he eats, okay? It's all he eats. So, anyway, nutrition is important. On top of that, they need to know how to take care of their bodies, because nutrition is a massive part of it. But on top of that, they need to be working out and taking care of their vessels as well too. You only get one body, people. You have to take care of it. It's supposed to last you to like 120, 180 years old, but the average American dies at 78. And the last 20 years plus, their lives have been miserable because they've been already developing these diseases and these issues, and a lot of them are getting on medications, right? The most medications have 70 side effects, right? So you take a medication to manage a symptom, right? Only to have more side effects, then to get another drug to manage those side effects, only to get another drug to manage those side effects, right? It's a vicious cycle of dominoes, right? You cannot change your health without changing your nutrition, okay? If you've never heard anybody say that, it's a fact. Drugs aren't going to save you, okay? Drugs are not going to save you. You will still die from the diseases you are treating if you do not change the way you eat and the way you live, period, okay? So, as a parent, it is your job to lead by example. You want your kids to eat healthy? You got to eat healthy. You want your kids to be fit? You got to be fit. You want your kids to work out? You got to work out, right? You have to lead by example, because they're going to mirror what you do, not what you say, right? Same thing applies to, you know, if you want your kids to be successful in life, be able to make a great income, so that way they have good lives, right? You need to teach them how to be an entrepreneur, right? Most of you aren't entrepreneurs, okay? The only way people are going to have the life that they want with the income and the time freedom that they want is by entrepreneurship. Are you an entrepreneur? Nope. So how are you going to teach your child how to be one? Okay, exactly. So these are skills that you guys should be teaching your children so they have their best life in this life that they are given, right? The only way they're going to be able to live a long, successful, happy, healthy life is if their nutrition's dialed in, their fitness is dialed in, and they're feeling their best about themselves, performing at their best, and you teach them valuable life skills that are going to benefit them their entire lives, like money management skills, entrepreneurship, you know, like, there's a lot of other life skills, you know, and on top of all the normal stuff like be polite and, you know, be respectful, be a team player, you know, all those types of things. But out of everything that you can teach your children, top 3, nutrition, fitness, and entrepreneurship. And then on top of that is also how to think. Because when it comes to success in any area of life, it's psychology. You know, a lot of you guys may not realize this, but being fit is a psychological feat. It's not a physical feat. It's psychological. Because you got to be able to discipline yourself to eat healthy. You got to be able to tell yourself, nah, I'm not going to eat that pizza. You got to be able to tell yourself, I'm going to get up early and go work out even though I don't want to. Okay? It's a psychological feat, not a physical one. And it's the same thing in business. It's a psychological feat, not a physical one. Right? So, anyway, so as a parent, it is your job to teach your kids valuable life skills. And the reality is that most of you guys work all day just so you could pay some bills, but you don't even get to spend time with your kids. You don't even get to spend quality time with your kids, which is why being an entrepreneur is the smartest thing you could do. So you could actually produce a massive amount of income and spend more time with your family and your loved ones, the ones that you say you love so much, but you're never around, right? So, I know that, man. I grew up like my mom My mom still works at Walmart to this day, okay? She's been there like 30, 40 years. I don't even know. Like, she's been there forever, okay? But growing up, single mom, she worked at Walmart full time, right? But she often had 2 or 3 jobs at a time just so she could be able to put food on the table. And our food was like top ramen, hot dogs, and pasta. Like, it wasn't anything special, okay? We lived in the ghetto. It was like we still weren't even getting by hardly. I mean, it was bad. And so with her working a full-time job and often 2 or 3 jobs, she was never home, right? And I'm okay with it because I'm an alpha, right? I'm okay with being independent and being on my own is totally cool, right? But we were home, you know, all day by ourselves. You know, we get out of school, we were home all day. You know, my mom would be gone working, trying to pay the bills, right? So she was never home. And a lot of you guys are living like that today. You're never home, right? You work 40, 50, 60 hours a week. You come home just in time to kiss your kids goodnight, right? Kiss your spouse goodnight, right? So let's go there too. Let's go about relationships, right? Because this is a vital part of leading by example for your children. Because one of the most powerful things that you can give your kids is the example of a great marriage. That is one of the most powerful things that you could give your children, right? But most of you are divorced. Most of you are divorced. And most of you have had multiple relationships. Obviously, you don't know how to be in a marriage, okay? I just wrote a blog about this a few days ago, made a bunch of posts about it last week, some things we learned, because trust me, we've messed it up too, right? But we've rebuilt and repaired the damage that we've done, right? So we've made the mistakes in that area ourselves too. So we've fixed that, and we've tried to teach you the lessons that we've learned, so that way you don't end up in the big D. But here's the deal. So at the root of all relationship problems, okay, I've done a lot of research on this, talked to lots of therapists, I have taken lots of courses, like, I got this shit down now, okay? The root of all relationship issues is a disconnection, okay? It's a disconnection between the spouse, which usually happens whenever you're working too much, you had new children into the mix, right? Because before children, you know, you were all about each other. You did everything with each other. Everything was going on. So your connection was really, really tight. Then you had kids, and it became kid first. And now you got a disconnection between you. You start resenting each other. You'll notice that most people that get divorced, usually they have kids that are around 3 to 5 years old. Okay? Look at it. It's very, very common. So, and it's because they're disconnected, because they put the kids first, stop focusing on each other and their relationship, and they get to a point to where they resent each other, and then they start hating each other, and then they start nitpicking and nagging about all these different things, and before you know it, they just want out, right? So, anyway, let's back up. So the key to a strong relationship is doing things every single day and every single week to stay connected and to keep your relationship strong, because one of the best things that you can give your children is the example of a strong relationship and a strong marriage, because your children will tend to repeat the example that you set for them. Remember that. So you'll often find that, you know, if like, for example, if your parents divorced when you were young, you're probably divorced too, right? If you're, whatever happened whenever you were younger, you tend to repeat it. So if you have divorced your spouse and you have young children, they're going to grow up, get married, and basically do the same thing, because that's what you taught them, right? So one of the best things that you can give them by leading by example is a strong marriage. So like he knows when it's date night, right? So we're like, hey, we're going to go on a date, right? You're going to stay with whichever brother or whoever's going to be babysitting them, right? And then he's like, okay, mommy, daddy, go on your gate. He calls it a gate with like a G. Go on your gate, right? And then we come back and he's like, how was your gate? Because he's used to seeing us go on dates, right? Because we usually do 2 a week. So anyway, so my whole point of this whole thing is you have to lead by example. Lead by example, okay? When it comes to being a parent, if you want your kids to have their best life, you have to show them how to have their best life. And like I said many, many times in the beginning of this, most of you guys haven't even gotten it. So until you do get it down, don't have kids if you haven't had kids yet. Okay? Master yourself before you think about having children. Just because you want kids doesn't mean it's a good idea. Okay? So just keep that in mind. So if you haven't had kids yet, okay, and if you have, it's never too late to change. You can still make changes and still improve, but it's going to be much harder because these children already have bad habits set in because of you. So it's your fault that they're picky with their food. It's your fault that they don't do this. It's their fault, your fault that they don't do that. It's because you raised them the wrong way. So you have to change things. So you're going to get a lot of pushback. You're going to get a lot of bitching and moaning, especially if they're older. So, but it's up to you to lead by example and raise them better, right? So oftentimes everybody always asks us, like, what do you guys feed Axel? Same stuff we eat, man. Same stuff. Protein, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and fruit. That's how we're designed to eat. Why would we eat anything else? We're designed to eat this way. So, so you feed your kids the same thing. When you pack their lunches, which is another little tip here, do not give your kids lunch money. There is not a damn thing healthy in school for your kids to eat. Okay? Pizza, hamburgers, French fries, nachos, okay? That's not helping them. It's not helping them. They're going to be taking a nap after lunch in class. So, and on top of that, they're going to be inflamed. They're going to have anxiety issues. They're going to have depression issues. They're going to have learning issues, brain fog, right? Which is just making their life in school much harder because they're not going to be able to focus. They're not going to have the ambition or desire to actually want to do their homework or want to go to school or want to do anything because you're feeding them terribly. So, don't give them lunch money. Make their lunches. Okay? And the reality is, when they get to the point to where they're going to start driving and stuff, right? They're probably going to be making bad food choices anyway. Okay? Because they're going to be hanging out with their friends, going to In-N-Out Burger and doing all kinds of stupid stuff, right? But they'll pay the consequences. And then over time, they'll learn why you were teaching them the way that you were teaching them to begin with. Because when they start to see how crappy they feel, right? Then they're going to be like, man, I really need to start eating healthier. So, anyway. So that's my little lesson for you guys today. Lead by example. Okay? Don't have kids until you master yourself. And if you did have kids, you need to lead by example and show them how it's done. You need to do it, lead from the front. Okay? You don't do it by this. You lead from the front. You show them how it's done. All right? And the easiest way of getting your kids to eat healthy, so let's say you guys already fucked it up. Okay? Let's say you guys already did it wrong, right? And your kids, all they ever want to eat is pizza and French fries because you ruined them, right? This is your fault. You need to accept responsibility. And let's say that you realized, because I just said this, you're like, you know what? You're right. My kid does have anxiety. My kid does have learning issues. My kid is lazy as hell. It's because of their diet, okay? So step one, get it out of the house. That's step one. Okay, because if it's not in the house, because like I said, they're going to get it from friends at school. They're going to get it from grandma's house. They're going to get it from other places. Okay, so step one is to get it out of the house. So at least when they're home, they have no choice but to eat healthy stuff. Right? When they get hungry enough, they'll eat whatever's there. Okay, so let them starve for a few hours. They're not going to die. Hell, if they even starve for a few days, let them. Okay, they're not going to die. At some point, they're going to be so ravenously hungry, they'll eat what's in front of them. Okay, so that's not child abuse. Feeding your kids junk food is child abuse. Okay, that is child abuse. If you really knew what that was doing to the inside of your body, like I do, you would never, ever, ever feed your kids that kind of food. Because it's kind of like this. Would you let your kids do heroin? Would you let them smoke crack? The food you're feeding them is more deadly than heroin or crack. Just an FYI, in case you didn't know that. Kills more people every year than all the hard drugs combined. No joke. And it's more addictive. So, you wouldn't give your kids heroin, yet you are. You're giving them another drug, which is way worse, way more devastating, and ruins their life on every single level. So, keep that in mind, okay? Because you're a drug addict too. So, but anyway, step one is get out of the house. That's also step one for you, okay? If it's in your house, subconsciously, the addiction is going to make you crave it. and it will always trick you and justify reasons why you need to use it. It'll always do that. But if it's not in your house, then you'll be forced to eat only what's there and what's healthy, right? So step 1 is get it out of your house. And then step 2 is fill your house with the healthy stuff, right? Fill yourself with the healthy stuff. Protein, vegetables, nuts, seeds, fruit. Foods that came directly from a plant or directly from an animal, okay? Directly. Not bread, not whole wheat. That's not directly from a plant. That's been refined and manufactured by man. That is not from a plant, okay? So whole wheat is healthy. If you didn't hear what I just said, okay, it's trash. It's been scientifically engineered and hybridized, and it's trash today. So there is no healthy bread unless you make it yourself out of like almond flour and eggs, okay? So, but anyway, fill your house with good stuff. Work out every single day, okay? And I recommend that you guys work out first thing in the morning every single day. So sacrifice some sleep, get up extra early, go work out first thing, then go start your day, okay? And you're gonna find that you're gonna have a much better day. You're gonna be much more consistent, much better results. Your days of work where you normally would be stressed out as hell, you're gonna be taking it on like a champ and totally fine because you got endorphins in your blood. And endorphins, in case you guys don't know what that is, you ever notice that like after you work out you always feel good? Here's why, okay? When you train, and the harder that you train, the more endorphins you get. So endorphins are known as endogenous morphine. Yep, you heard that right. Endogenous morphine. You produce your own personal morphine whenever you work out, okay? That's why you always feel good afterwards. That's why if you work out first thing in the morning and then you go tackle work, what's gonna happen is all the stresses and the stuff that would normally overwhelm you or make you angry or stress you out or whatever, right? You're able to take it on and process that information and those emotions much more effectively because you got endorphins in your blood. You're feeling good, right? So that's what's one of the reasons why I recommend that you do it first thing in the morning. The other reason is for consistency, because most of you put working out off as a last resort, as a thing you do at the end of your day. Well, guess what? How's that working for you? Most of you don't work out. So what does that tell you? It ain't working for you, right? So, because you're too tired and exhausted and worn out by the end of the day because of all the stress and all the stuff you've been going through, you just want to go home and chill, right? So, if you sacrifice some sleep, get up earlier, and do it first thing, you're going to be consistent. If you force yourself to do that every single day and then develop a habit, once you turn these things into habits, it becomes easy, right? And it takes 66 plus days straight to create a habit, okay? Straight. If you miss a day, you're going to be pushing that back. You may even have to start all over with those 66 days in order for it to be ingrained. So if you force yourself to do it every single day for 66 days, then you will start to form a habit. It takes up to 180 plus, but 66 days on average, right? So, according to science, it's not 21, okay? So, but once you make it a habit, it's easy because it's just who you are. It's like every time, like when you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you do? You probably wake up, you probably go, you know, like brush your teeth, right? And then you get dressed, right? It's habit. It's habit. You don't even think about it. You just do it. Right? It's the same thing when it comes to working out. You don't have to force yourself to do it anymore. You just do it naturally. And even on the days that you don't feel like it, you're still gonna go. So trust me, I have lots of days that I don't feel like it. What are you doing, buddy? He's probably tired. He had a rough workout today. So anyway, so that's my lesson for you today. That's lesson number 2. I made a live earlier about entrepreneurship earlier. So if you haven't caught that one, check that one out, because that one's a good one too. So anyway, you guys have a good day. I'll see you next time.